The moment I opened my front door, my stomach dropped. My blind date didn't smile or say hello. Instead, she leaned in close, her breath shaky, and whispered 5 words that froze my blood. Someone's following me. In that instant, everything I thought I knew about awkward first dates disappeared. This wasn't about small talk or first impressions anymore. This was about fear, trust, and a choice that would change both of our lives. Before the story begins, take a second to support your channel name. If you enjoy emotional, real-life inspired stories about kindness and human connection, hit subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. I almost canceled the date that night. It had been a long week at work and I wasn't sure I had the energy to meet a stranger, but my sister had set it up saying, "You've been alone too long, just give it one evening." So I cleaned my apartment, put on a decent shirt, and told myself I'd at least be polite. Her name was Lily. We'd only exchanged a few messages. She seemed kind, funny, normal. Nothing that suggested the night would turn into something out of a movie. At exactly 7 p.m., the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, Lily stood there in a light blue top, eyes wide, hands clenched around her purse strap. She glanced behind her, then back at me, and whispered those words, "Someone's following me." I stepped aside immediately. "Come in." Now. The moment she crossed the threshold, I locked the door and pulled the curtains shut. My heart was pounding, but I tried to keep my voice calm. "Are you okay?" I asked. She nodded, but tears filled her eyes. "I think so. I'm sorry. I didn't know what else to do." We sat on the couch, a safe distance apart, like two people who barely knew each other but were suddenly bound by something serious. She took a deep breath and explained. On her walk from the parking lot, she noticed a man across the street. At first, she thought nothing of it. But when she changed direction, he did too. When she stopped, he stopped. By the time she reached my building, he was close enough that she could hear his footsteps. "I didn't want to panic," she said. "But I was scared. When you opened the door, I just reacted. I told her she did the right thing. Anyone would have been afraid. I asked if she wanted to call the police." She hesitated. "I don't want to make a big deal if it's nothing," she said quietly. "Kindness isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's about taking someone's fears seriously." I checked outside through the window. The street looked empty. Still, I didn't like the feeling in my gut. I suggested we wait a bit before going anywhere. We ended up talking on that couch for over an hour. At first, it was small things, where we grew up, why we were both still single. She told me she worked with kids at a community center. I told her about my boring office job. Slowly, her shoulders relaxed. Her voice steadied. She admitted she almost didn't come on the date either. "I've had some bad experiences," she said, "but I'm trying not to let fear control my life." Something about that stuck with me. Eventually, I offered to walk her back to her car or call her a ride. She smiled, the first real smile of the night. "That would mean a lot," she said. We waited a few more minutes, then stepped outside together. The air was cool and quiet. I stayed alert, scanning every corner. When we reached her car, she turned to me. "Thank you," she said, "not just for tonight, for believing me." I watched her drive away, hoping she was safe. I didn't expect to hear from her again, but the next morning I had a message waiting. "Hey," it read, "I just wanted to say thank you again. Last night reminded me there are still good people out there." We started talking more after that, not just texting, but really talking, about fears, about kindness, about moments in life when a stranger's compassion made all the difference. A few weeks later, she told me something she hadn't shared before. The man who followed her that night wasn't the first time she'd felt unsafe. She'd been through a situation in the past where no one believed her, where she was told she was overreacting. "That's why what you did mattered," she said. "You didn't brush it off. You didn't make me feel silly." I realized then that kindness isn't just being nice. It's choosing to stand with someone when it would be easier not to. It's listening without judgment. It's opening your door when someone is afraid. Our relationship didn't turn into a fairy tale romance. Life doesn't always work that way. But we stayed friends. Good friends. And a few months later, kindness came back around in a way I never expected. One night, my car broke down on the side of the road during a storm. My phone battery was dying, and I felt completely stuck. As cars rushed past, I remembered Lily's fear that night. I remembered how helpless she'd felt. Then a car pulled over. A woman stepped out holding an umbrella. "Are you okay?" she asked. She didn't have to stop, but she did. She called for help, waited with me, and made sure I was safe. Before she left, she smiled and said, "Someone once helped me when I was scared. I promised myself I'd do the same." I don't know if she realized how much those words meant. Kindness moves in quiet circles. What you give, you don't always see return right away, but it travels, it grows, it finds its way back. That night, opening my door wasn't about being brave or heroic. It was about choosing compassion in an unexpected moment. And that simple choice changed how I see people forever. We never know what someone is carrying when they knock on our door. We never know how much our response might matter. Sometimes, kindness is the safest place a person can find. So if you get the chance to listen, to help, to believe someone when they're afraid, take it. You might be the reason they feel safe again. And one day, when you least expect it, that kindness may come back to you, opening a door you didn't even know you needed.